let's do it one more time. I am back in town, came from Plano, Texas. So many cover-to-cover listeners at the Plano shows at Hyenas. Thank you so much. People giving me gift cards and all sorts of fun, sweet, nice things after the show. Great to see everybody. Thank you for coming. Had fun in Plano, Texas. A lot of talk about this Lori Loughlin, Felicity Huffman thing. Everybody is very bent out of shape over the cheating scandal of Olivia Jade Loughlin. It seems like she's getting more heat than the Felicity Huffmans. I mean, I know they're getting a little too, William H. Macy and Felicity Huffman, about that, but they only paid $15,000. Now the story's kind of, when we first did it last week, the story had just happened, and we came in, and it was 15 minutes into the story breaking, so we didn't have a lot of the details. So I know it's maybe a little bit older of a story now, but I'll kind of go over some details of it that I've learned that are pretty kind of funny about. First of all, let me just give my opinion on it. I'm a little surprised at how shocked people are and offended by it, and I know why people are, but you do understand. We all understand that sometimes rich people, and not even necessarily rich people, just people with a couple extra bucks will skirt a couple of the rules to get things they want. We've all done it over the years. When you were 10 and the children's meal at the restaurant was for 8-year-olds, you told the waiter you were 8. Or you lowered yourself to go underneath the turnstile to get into like a roller skating rink or something. I mean, these are the. I'll give you a story about when I was a child. My mother took us to a Bayshore, Long Island roller skating rink. And I was I don't know if maybe have I told the story before? I don't know if I
don't think so. I don't.
Yeah, and we got to the roller skating rink, and I was a kid.
Were there mannequins being set up?
No, absolutely not. and it was, I was like 6 years old at the time, real young, and I go into the roller skating rink, and they say there's no dungarees. You can't have dungarees at this roller skating rink, and I was wearing dungarees. That's what we used to call jeans. Dungarees.
In the 20s.
Yeah, they rarely call them that anymore, but dungarees was, and they had a very hard, fast rule about non-dungarees. So my mother, not unlike Lori Loughlin, said, well, what can we do to get my child into this roller skating rink? We're not going to go home. So the guy said, we have a box of pants behind the counter for situations such as this. So he, picks up this big box of pants and puts them on the counter and says, take a pair of pants, and then you can skate for the day if you take off your dungarees. So as a 6-year-old, I reach around into the box of pants, and I get a nice pair of big, giant, rust-colored corduroys, but a man's pant. They're a grown man's pant, and I put them on and cinched them up with a belt, and I get to skate the day, looking like like a little lost orphan around the thing. So what I'm saying is that was my mother's Lori Loughlin. My mother basically saying, "Hey, I understand you guys don't have dungarees, but we got to make something else work here." So that's basically like Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman going, "Hey, my daughters are dumb and they don't really play any sports and they don't really have much talent outside of the fact that they're 18 and they have nice bodies and they're on Instagram, which is Olivia Jade Loughlin or whatever, Massimo, whatever her last name is. She's like an Instagram model to the point where she's got 2 million followers on Instagram and just posts pictures. I happen to read this in one of the papers that she's an Instagram model who posts bikini pictures and she's only 19. So I immediately followed her because, I had to do the research on it. And it's exactly what she does. She's an Instagram model who posts pictures about. So right off the bat, you're like, I don't know if she's exactly. Now, all of my friends have gone to USC. I have quite a few friends who've gone to USC. They all seem relatively smart, but they've all told me, yeah, SC. I mean, I don't know if that's the greatest degree in the world, but Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giovanni, or whatever the husband's name is, who I guess he's made his fortune. From what I remember, he's a fashion designer. But the only thing I know him from is Target. Massimo used to have he used to have a line at Target. He was like a T-shirt guy at Target. So that's where Massimo. I mean, I used to have a couple of Massimo like T-shirts and jackets, but so I guess they've made millions over the and she's a lifetime act. You know, we all know Lori Loughlin from '80s movies, and then of course Full House, and then some Lifetime movies and stuff. Which she's been now fired from everything, which I also thought was kind of strange. Like people like, we cannot have this person being in our Lifetime movies talking about Christmas whatever things she's doing, or because she cheated to get her kid into school, so she's fired from that. The girl, Olivia Jade, has been fired from Sephora. I guess she had a deal with Sephora. She's fired from that. Lori Loughlin's also fired from Fuller House on Netflix, which I thought was in its final season anyway, but she's fired from that. So she's done basically in show business, which. Okay, fine. I mean, I think they're doing fine, but maybe this might affect them. Maybe they'll have to, they were doing so well, Massimo and Lori Loughlin, that they were able to spend $200,000 to get this girl into USC on a rowing. They said she was like what do they call a rowing? A culling or something? I believe there's a word for it. But she was on like the rowing team in USC, which. A lot of people didn't even know they had a rowing team at USC, but they do. Now, if you know when USC is, it's here, not far from where we are actually taping this, but in the middle of Los Angeles, in the middle of kind of a shitty neighborhood in the city of Los Angeles. There's no place to row anywhere near it. So I guess you go over to the Pacific Ocean, and this girl, Olivia Jade, of course, never actually rowed any time. Not even that. She didn't even. I'm reading today in the Us magazine. She didn't even fill out her own application for the school. 204 page support the criminal complaint. Okay, da. Oh yeah, that's Rick Singer's the guy who did it. We all know the story now. I mean, it's out there. I'm just giving you my opinion on it. I'm a little, and now outraged moms are suing Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin for $500 billion over this scandal. Like they're like, my daughter didn't get in because Olivia Jade got in. And
is that why?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, is that the reason why? I'm not that I'm sticking up for Lori Loughlin. I honestly, like everybody else, I love a mob mentality of taking people down, especially, rich, successful people who seem a little douchebaggy to begin with, which now, no, I didn't know. I didn't honestly didn't think much about Lori Loughlin before all this went down. I always thought she was an attractive, person. And I remember watching her movies in the 80s. I didn't watch Full House. I don't watch Fuller House. I used to watch her late at night. She would, and she still does. As a matter of fact, I happened to see it like 2 nights ago when I was in Plano. The one thing she hasn't been fired from is she's still selling Cindy Crawford's moisturizing face cream on late night infomercials. Lori Loughlin's a spokesperson for Cindy Crawford's face cream. So I know they probably taped that thing 6 years ago, and they just re-air the same one over and over every night. So she hasn't been fired from that yet, but so Cindy Crawford will get on that. And honestly, Cindy Crawford, who's married to Randy Gerber, who, has that tequila with George Clooney, and they sold that for $1 billion, and also a bunch of hotels, and they have like 3 or 4 kids, that somewhere down the line, the Gerber Crawfords have scammed some sort of college or private school or whatever to get in. I mean, honestly, George Bush went to Yale. So there you have it right there.
Yeah.
Like was George Bush, did he have the credentials to go to Yale? No. But George Bush's father went to Yale, and that's how colleges work. Like I said last week, as a guy who didn't go to college, but we had our scam. I mean, my father, just the way we did it, we were regular construction working, blue collar people. It was tough to get into the local 3, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It was hard to get into that thing. My father said, hey, I'll pull some strings. Not only will I get you in, Chris Franjola, I'll get you 2 brothers in the same year. My brother Kenny, my brother Gene, and me all got in the same year.
Sounds fishy.
And people, as a matter of fact, when they did like a roll call, we'd have to go to like an apprentice meeting every Tuesday, and they would call out all 3 Franjolas in a row, and everyone was like, "Oh, somebody's scamming somebody up in here." So yeah, so that was our scam. I think my father's doing okay. Nobody's coming after him. I hope. Now that I mention that, I hope they don't go bust my father and and take away his T-shirt line
Because of all the electrician jobs you
right,
stole
right.
from Ron
Now he's just living quietly in Myrtle Beach. He's not causing any trouble. They're going to Costco and they're getting. They had a big argument. Jean and Jerry Franjola, my mom and dad, have been married 57 years, still doing very well. And they're down in Myrtle Beach. They go back and forth between Long Island and Myrtle Beach, and they're at Costco every single day, buying in bulk, which I really don't know why they're buying in bulk anymore, because it's just the two of them, and that they got to choke down a lot of bagels throughout the week if they're going to get, the deal at Costco was for 75 bagels. That's a lot. So my mother thought they were having a deal at the Costco. This is a recent conversation we had that she wanted to get some sun-dried tomatoes. She likes sun-dried tomatoes. And Costco was having a deal on like a big giant bottle of sun-dried tomatoes, probably 4 or 5 gallons of sun-dried tomatoes. More sun-dried tomatoes than anybody could ever eat, especially two people who were in their late 70s. But they went and did it. And my father was freaking out. Like, we're sun-dried tomatoes. What type of lifestyle are we living here? We're not sun-dried tomato people. We are regular sliced tomato people. We're not sun-dried people. This is an affluent lifestyle we're leading now with sun-dried tomato. But my mother's now putting because they have the 7 gallons of sun-dried tomatoes. They need to put them on everything. So my mother is serving up all sorts of sun-dried. So if you're in the Myrtle Beach area and you want to swing by my parents' condo,
if you got bad eyes,
swing by my parents' condo, because they're serving up. They got a lot of sun-dried tomatoes to get rid of in the next probably 6-7 months. So go down there and check out that. So that's what that's the Lori Loughlin, Felicity Huffman. I feel like, I don't know if you can you feel the same way. I feel like Felicity Huffman and Massimo are getting more heat than Felicity. They're getting less heat. Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy are getting less heat than Lori Loughlin and Massimo, because I think they only paid $15,000 to get this girl some better SAT scores. And I don't think they got to the point where they were going to have to pay the $200,000 yet. I think they were heading in that direction, but I haven't heard about them being fired from anything. I'm not sure if Felicity Huffman was currently working on something. I know William H. Macy's always working on something, and he was on Shameless, and I think that's currently filming. But he didn't seem to take any of the heat. As a matter of fact, wasn't even mentioned in like the court papers and things like that. So I don't know what William H. Macy's. I did see that them both walking into the courthouse to go testify for whatever on the $250,000 bond, and they both looked like they'd seen better days. I mean, William H. Macy honestly always looks like an older, but he's 69 years old and she's 56, and then the guy who wrote about it in the New York Post just like wrote a scathing thing about how they were dressed. And I was like, boy, this guy's, the way he wrote this article about how awful they both looked heading into court, I was like, he must have not gotten into USC or something. So he's got an axe to grind. Like he's
upset.
These people look terrible. Anyway.
Sculling.
Thank you. That's the term. Sculling. That's the term. So Olivia Jade, of course she's out there sculling. Why not? She's a 19-year-old supermodel who's, got a good-looking Italian dad, and Lori Loughlin's her mom, and this is just a lifestyle that I don't know. It must be great to grow up in a world where, that's what you do. You become Instagram, bikini girl, and they say, you want to go to USC? This girl did not want to. She's like, no, I don't want to go to USC. I don't want to go to any. I hate school. It's so stupid. And they're like, well, we got to put our girl through school, only because probably, just because of our friends, like when they get together at, for a summer picnic, they'll be like, what's Olivia Jade up to? Oh, Olivia Jade? She's sculling. You didn't know? Yeah, no, she's a sculler. Really? She never seemed that athletic to me. Yeah, I know. We were surprised too. It was something she was doing secretly. And we were like, what are you doing all the time when you're out with your friends? And one day Olivia Jade just said to us, she goes, you know what, Mom and Dad, it's about time you knew. I have a love for sculling. So I'm out there sculling. They're like, well, that's great to hear, Olivia Jade. Because you're such a good sculler, we are going to get you a sculling scholarship to USC.
Scholarship?
A scholarship. Yeah. So how do you feel about that? And she's like, so now she's got to pretend that she's interested in it. Not even to the point she filled out the application. Like I said earlier, I didn't go to college. I don't even know the college application process. I guess it's a long process to fill this out. And she's like, no way. So I don't know who, maybe Lori Loughlin filled it out or got like the housekeeper to fill it out, but somebody else filled out the thing. So this girl really put in no effort whatsoever, other than the fact that she's going to USC, and it's probably good to have Olivia Jade. By the way, her initials are OJ, and she goes to USC. And OJ Simpson went to USC, and I saw a picture of her in her dorm room on her Instagram, and she has a big giant OJ on her wall at USC, which I thought was interesting. Just a little side note that I thought was funny because
the letters OJ, or she has an OJ poster.
No, the letters OJ because that's her name, Olivia Jade. And right away, even the name itself says, I have an affluent lifestyle. Like I'm better than you. My name's Olivia Jade, not Mary Simpson. You know what I mean? It's not. It's a skull. It's a fake sculler's name, Olivia Jade.
Yeah,
Massimo. And the Massimo guy, hang on.
Yeah.
The Massimo guy, I guess what I've been reading is he's like a real hardcore Trump supporter who is, I guess, very vocal about people, not pulling their weight in this country. Like, these damn people on welfare taking away our tax dollars. And this motherfucker's cheating everybody.
My daughter
earned to go to the school. She's a beautiful scholar. This is my Italian accent. She like my Olivia Jade, like to scholar. So she go to USC. She not taking welfare money from you people. You like the T-shirt? You like my T-shirt? You get at Target for $4. Is that Italian? I don't know. But anyway, this guy seems like his name's like Massimo Gianelli or whatever. He's a fucking hardcore Italian.
I looked at Olivia's page, and I could tell you from the very first picture that girl's never written her name on a piece of paper. No,
she is not.
She's the kind of girl that when you're walking around USC, you're like, oh, how do they all get in? Yeah.
Now here's why William H. Macy was not charged in the scandal. Tuesday stood in front of a magistrate. Her husband, fellow actor William H. Macy, was sitting in the courtroom, but in the audience, federal prosecutors had charged Huffman, but not Macy. And this raised some questions. What is Huffman accused of doing? Huffman is accused of disguising a $15,000 charity. Oh, that was the other thing. That's why
they get him on.
That's why people were really upset, because it was a scam with a charity. You were saying, I'm giving this money to charity. That's how they covered it up. It was a $15 charitable payment in the bribery scheme. According to court records, prosecutors alleged she met with a confidential witness who explained that she could control an SAT testing center. Everybody was on the take in this thing.
That's colleges. Everyone's on the take everywhere.
I guess that's why I'm not old. But I guess the SAT score people are on the take. They're like, hey, for $15,000 we can make the guy. They would actually.
Turns out that's a good job.
Steve mentioned it last week. Like they would finish the test for them. They were like, just go ahead and pretend you're doing it for an hour and a half, or whatever. I remember I did like the SAT. I think I did take the SAT. I don't remember my scores. They were not great. I don't think, but I remember being a long test. It was hard.
Oh yeah, it's a couple hours.
Yeah,
of your time.
It was a couple hours. So I guess this girl, when like the Felicity Huffman kid goes in for a couple hours, like an hour, and then she's like, I'm done. I got to go skull.
Bubble gum.
Got to go skull with Olivia Jade, and they're like, all right, we'll go. We got a guy to finish it for $15,000, and that's how it goes. There you go. And I don't know where you people live and where your head's at and how your kids are going to school, but I see some like Facebook people screaming about it. My kid had to go to community college because Olivia Jade went to SC. I'm like, no, your kid went to community college because, that's the way the world works. Everybody, you go to, and that's nothing wrong with community college. Go have fun and let Olivia Jade be Olivia Jade. Lori Loughlin's gotten fired for everything, so the gang mentality worked. We got her out. We're never going to have to watch that bitch in a Lifetime movie ever again. Are we all happy that Lori Loughlin will not be able to weave baskets with some fucking Canadian actor I've never seen before on Christmas Eve for the handicapped woman down the street and bring them to the children? And that's my and then do an ice sculpture for the blind guy who hasn't seen an ice sculpture since his wife died, and he wants one last ice sculpture. And Lori Loughlin gets her chainsaw out on Christmas Eve and makes an ice sculpture for this fella, and he goes goes up and touches it and goes, "Oh my God, it's just the way my wife did it before she passed." And everybody sings, and that's the end of it. But now it's not going to be Lori Loughlin anymore because she cheated. It's going to be Daphne Zanaga or what some other 80s actress.
Daphne Zanaga?
Daphne Zanaga used to be, it's weird to me. She was in a fantastic movie called The Sure Thing with John Cusack. It's one of Rob Reiner's first directed movies. Great movie if you haven't seen it. And then she was kind of a big star there for a minute. She's in Spaceballs, the Mel Brooks movie. Yeah. She plays Princess Leia in that. So she had a moment there where she was a big star, just kind of went away. Not unlike Lori Loughlin had the same type of career as Daphne Zanaga. They were both doing like 80s movies where they were the cute girl in the 80s movie. Lori Loughlin went on to like continue on in show business, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Daphne Zanaga or Zaniga, however now, I haven't heard from her in a while. So there is a space to fill currently on these Hallmark movies because Lori Loughlin's out. So we need Jamie Gertz. We need, who's another one who I haven't seen in a while. She was queen of the 80s movies. We need one of you people to step up, whether it be Jamie Gertz, Daphne Zanaga, Laurie Singer. She was in Footloose.
Somebody else who has bangs.
All of these people who were hot and in the 80s. We need you back. We got about 6 Hallmark movies to fill in the next couple of months, and we're gonna need you. They already have the girl from the Wonder Years does a bunch of them, so she's filling that. That's over on Lifetime, I believe. So we're gonna need somebody to come over to Hallmark. Paging Virginia Madsen. We need Virginia Madsen stat over at Hallmark. Okay.
You said Olivia Jade lost a sponsorship. What did she? What?
For Sephora. That's what I had read. She was she had doing something for Sephora, probably just holding up a bottle of perfume on her Instagram, which I don't know if she was doing like a huge campaign for them, but she had lost it.
Isn't that that'd be a good, if you shook her hand and you're like, oh, you have very soft hands for a sculler, that would make Sephora's.
There you go. They're moisturizing.
Sephora, they should get back in
their
there.
Hand cream would be like, oh, that's why.
Oh.
Yeah. But I don't think the sculling, I don't know anything about rowing, but I think she was the girl who sits in the front of the boat and just yells. I don't know the term for that. Yeah, and just yells how to, and 2 and 3, and I'm not familiar with how it all works. But so that's that story. A little bit of coverage on it, a little bit more coverage on it because it's been all the chatter amongst me and my friends, and it's fun. And it's fun to see rich people go down. It really is. It does. It brings all of us joy, and we got 2 in this one, and there's a lot more people involved in it. Outside of Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, there's a bunch of people from Orange County who were also involved. I think it was all in all 40 people involved in this FBI sting. I feel like the FBI could be doing more important things in this world today. I mean, we just had another huge shooting over in New Zealand, and of a fucking crazy guy who was, obviously had some sort of, online presence in Australia, went in and shot up a couple of mosques and 49 people killed. And maybe the FBI should be more concerned about that than Olivia Jade. But I don't think you're ever going to stop this shit. I mean, not to bring the show down, but here was another one this week, 49 people in New Zealand. And at New Zealand, that's an area you're like, oh, America, we understand. We're shooting everybody over here. We just love to shoot each other. But when it happens in some of these countries, you're like, wow, really? New Zealand? So that went down. And of course, it's the same thing as it always is. It's some crazy fucking white guy who's angry at whoever, angry at everybody, angry at Muslims and Jews and Christians, and everybody's angry at everybody, and they're gonna shoot everybody. And there you have it. There was more shootings, and so that was another big story. So if we're gonna stick with the cover to cover theme, we have to just say, hey man, here you go, another one. 49 people shot. Guy videotaped it. Real fucking sad shit. I mean, it is. It's a terrible situation, and the guy's alive. I think they got him. I mean, I know they got him, but he's not one of those ones who shot and then turned the gun on himself. He walked out and they had him in the courtroom, and he was smiling and giving out white power symbols and all that shit. And as a white guy, I don't like the white power shit. I'm not about that. I'd rather, I don't know. What do I know? Who gives a shit? I mean, I do give a shit about that, but like, who gives a shit about white power people? It's ridiculous. But this is the internet. It's fueling this world. You know, this is something we didn't have 25 years ago. And which I just read on internet last week. I think just turned 30 years old. The internet, it had its birthday, and in that 30 years, what have we done? We've created Olivia Jade and a bunch of school shooters, and that's about it. And every now and again I can promote a show on the internet, but other than that, what have we done? We've created Amazon, which has in turn closed down pretty much every store in the country. I just read Payless shoe stores are now gone, and Sears will be next, and J.C. Penney's after that. And
I thought Sears already was done.
They keep coming back. Somehow, some like billionaire keeps buying them and saying, "I will turn this thing around," which I don't really know. I don't really know how they're going to turn it around. But they keep saying they are. As a matter of fact, there's a Sears by me where I live in Los Angeles, and they're doing a full remodel on it. They've like torn down the facade, the front of it, and they're putting up a whole new thing. So they're trying to get somebody involved. I mean, I don't know. And then there's like, I live on there's one portion of Ventura Boulevard that has, it's kind of an affluent neighborhood of Los Angeles, and the Gap just closed, like gone. The Gap, boom, signs off the front. Gap. I mean, you think Gap, that's like, I know the shirts don't fit that great, but in a pinch sometimes especially when I'm on the road and stuff, and I'm in the middle, I got to go up to Calgary this weekend, and sometimes you're in Calgary, like, oh, it's colder in Calgary than I thought. You go to a Gap, you get yourself a scarf or a hat. This place is perfect for that. But I guess not enough people were doing that. So this particular Gap is gone. So there you go. And so this is what the internet's done in 30 years. School shootings, Olivia Jade, and closed down a lot of the stores. Anything good? I don't know. Has it done anything good? Maybe not.
Ignorance was bliss.
Ignorance. That's exactly right, Alex. Ignorance was bliss, and
we don't have it anymore. Now we're talking too much.
A lot of people talking. We all know it. We get it. I tell you one good thing that the internet has brought me is Instagram, which I sit and scroll mindlessly for hours, like when I'm sitting in an airport or on a plane. And I used to just look straight ahead, which is probably better. Used to see like people walking by, and you would notice things and just stare and daydream. We used to call it daydreaming, and it served me well, daydreaming and looking straight ahead. You can't do it anymore. Like you look, as a guy who eats alone a lot because I'm on the road, I'll sit at a bar and eat lunch by myself, and there's been a few times where I'm like, I'm going to be strong and I'm not going to bring my phone with me. I'm going to sit and eat without, with just being a normal person and thinking about life and life's choices and things like that. Maybe I'll bring a book or a newspaper, and I do. I'll sit there with a newspaper on the bar, and then within 2 minutes, I'm like, God, I need my phone. Like, I need to find out what
addiction.
Yeah, where's Ken? And I looked up like how to get rid of the addiction of the phone, and like just turn it off. I'm like, yeah, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, just put the crack pipe down.
Right,
just put it down.
Exactly. Yeah,
don't get rid of the crack.
They don't really have any answers to like how to get rid of it. But
they don't want you. I mean, you're using your phone probably to Google how to get. You got to read a book.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, you can't use your phone to figure out how to put your phone down.
No. But anyway, I've talked about this before, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody. But just let's go back to just staring straight ahead and looking at each other and all that, and stop shooting and stop shooting. Don't you get yourself all riled up on watching these websites or the dark net or whatever people are on. Just look at it, like Kylie Jenner's Instagram is not. You're not going to go shoot anybody after you look at that. You're like, oh my God, she looks cute in that outfit. What is she wearing? And I'll look at my favorite that I've talked about over and over again is Caitlin's Instagram. Is up and running. Like, it is going. And I said it before, this is a 72-year-old man who is pretty up on his Instagram. Like, I don't know if another man that old, sorry, I keep saying man, I'm sorry, you know what I mean. Another woman who was keeping up on their Instagram. Like, he's doing it. He's doing videos with the girlfriend. He's doing, pictures and all that stuff. So it's amazing. So that's something you could do on let me just say what's happening here. I feel like we're just babbling at this point, and we are, because we're filling another hole in a week that I have to be gone. So this one is a hole we have to fill. We're going to air it this week, but it's a kind of a slow news week. I don't know if you've noticed, outside of the shooting in New Zealand and a little bit of the Lori Loughlin stuff left over from last week, there's like nothing going on outside of a few new people have entered the presidential race. We have Beto O'Rourke.
Oh, Beto O'Rourke.
He got involved. He's now running for president, and the woman from I believe she's from New York. I can't think of her name. We're going to call her No Chance, because there's no chance that she is going to be the president of the United States. Just no chance. Some people, when they get involved, you're like, it's going to cost. It's going to cost a lot of money to run a campaign. 50 million, 75 million to run these campaigns, and these people get involved, and you're like, you just have no. That's like me going, hey, you know what I'm going to do next year? I'm like, what? I'm going to be the third baseman for the New York Yankees. Like, no, you know you're not. You have no chance. I'm like, no, I am. I'm going to spend $75 million to try and campaign to be the third baseman for the New York Yankees. But you're 52 years old and you don't have any skills. I don't care. I'm gonna be the third. Like, that's the same thing. Like, that's how no chance like these people have. Beto O'Rourke, maybe, he's a handsome guy.
He's getting a lot of news coverage.
That's the thing. I don't know why certain people get news coverage over other people. But he seems. Yeah, I think it is. It's a lot of it has to do with that. I mean, look at Donald Trump. The guy got the most coverage of anybody. Kind of one of the reasons he won, and because he was interesting to watch. He said it every day. Who are you going to cover if you're not going to cover me? These boring people standing behind me? Nobody wants to watch them. And he was right. Nobody did.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be the same thing when we start getting into, as we get to closer and closer to 2020, when these guys start fighting again, like they do. We're going to wait for Donald Trump to come up with one like cute nickname for these people. He's already saying that Beto O'Rourke. He doesn't call him Beto, which is his name. I believe it's pronounced Beto. He calls him Beto or something, and they're like, his name's Beto.
Just call him Beta.
He's like, for me, it's Beto. He's Beto. And then he says he moves his hands way too much. He moves his hands a lot. Do you see? He's crazy. He goes, you should look into that. He moves his hands way too much. So this is just already he's got something. He's handsy Beto hands. And so there you go. And that'll be it. And I forget the other woman so now there's like a ton of people running on the Democratic side. I don't know if I've heard anybody running on the Republican side against Donald Trump yet, but somebody will throw their hat in the ring eventually just to be, crushed by Donald Trump within a few weeks. And there we are. So it is a bit of a slow news week. So I'm kind of like,
I have a question. Are you following Boeing at all? Have you followed?
Oh, yes. Well, you know what? Thank you for bringing that up, Alex. It's funny because, they grounded these planes, a few of the planes. Now, I didn't know how much we use these particular jets. Two of them crashed. It was a DC, whatever the plane was. I'm not exactly.
It's a 737 MAX 8.
Oh, 737 MAX 8. There you go. Thank you.
The new MAX 8.
Yeah, and MAX 8. So two of them crashed overseas. Lion Airlines, when these planes.
They sound like the kind of people who crash an airplane.
Right. Well, that's I'm like, I hate to sound like that, but. I mean, they're like, none of them crash in America. Like, well, I mean, don't we have better pilots and stuff here in America than in Lion Air? Like, I hope Southwest and American Airlines leaving out of, Los Angeles going to New York has a better pilot than Lion Airlines going from Somalia to wherever the fuck, and that's why they went there. But they say it was some sort of, but then I read, I flew the last one off the ground to Dallas. The last Southwest
that was
one. 737
MAX 8.
They had not grounded them yet.
Ooh.
I get on the 737 MAX 8 the Thursday before they grounded them. It wasn't 15 minutes later. I'm in the air. We're already up and going, and I didn't know it was the MAX 8. I heard some other people talking about it. I'm not the guy who before I gets on the plane asks what type of vehicle are we getting on today? I don't really care about that. And and then Trump had come on and we were like the last plane off the ground. And then I read the Southwest, chairman of Southwest come on and say, hey, we fly this plane a lot. They have like 25 of them in their fleet. And they're like, we've never had an issue. But we're going to ground it anyway. But this is not a problem for us. So those have been grounded. I went up in it. I landed safely in Plano, Texas, and I was able to do my shows. Honestly, sometimes when you go into a stand-up gig, not that the Plano's Hyenas was good, but Some of them you're like, I'd rather the plane just crash.
Go down.
Yeah, I would rather be on one of the Lion Jet Air 8 and crash into a field than go do another gig in in Milwaukee.
Bettendorf.
Not that Milwaukee's a bad city, but there was a really shitty comedy club there. It's closed now, and it was the worst experience of my stand-up life at a place called Jokers in Milwaukee. Okay, so yeah, that's we do have some exciting news here at Cover to Cover, which is fun. We actually got our first sponsor. We've been talking about it for a few weeks. Like, if we get one, it's going to be exciting. We got one. We got a sponsor. And I don't know if I'm the best person to be doing ads for people. So I went and I asked a few of my celebrity friends. I got on the phone. I said, can somebody help me out with our first ad? And of course, without hesitation, my dear friend Caitlyn Jenner said, there's no problem. I will help you with your ad. And she simply said, what's it for? And I said, well, we got an ad for Gina Tay, which is a body splash. And he goes, you don't have to, I know Gina Tay. And so here we go. We got an ad. Gina Tay is now going to sponsor us, and Caitlyn will be doing the ad. So take it away, Caitlyn, for Gina Tay. Gina Tay perfume was first launched back in 1935 by Revlon. It's a timeless classic, possesses citrus, floral, and spicy notes, such as lavender, which we love to lie around out in Malibu. It's a predicament living out there these days, but there's jasmine in there, rose, carnation, lily of the valley, cedar bean. Oh, I got my cedar bean cut off a while ago. Musk and sandalwood. It's really fun to splash this on when you're going out for a night with your girls to enjoy Chardonnay. So put on your shoes, everybody. We're heading out in our Gina Tay. Wow, that was our first ad. Thank you, Caitlyn, for Gina Tay body. Are you familiar with the Gina Tay body splash?
Yeah,
Alex. Yeah, you put it on.
Splash a little.
I didn't realize there were that many. Thank you, Caitlyn, for doing that. I didn't realize there were that many notes in it. There's lavender, jasmine, rose, carnation. Carnation, huh? I remember when carnations were like the cheap flower on Valentine's Day, like in elementary school, when they was selling. You could buy like a flower for like a girl who you liked in elementary school. You could buy a rose, which was, I don't know, $4. I could buy a carnation for her, which was like $1. And I remember a couple times, I think I had given one to what were the girls? Lisa Maiden. And I went with a carnation, and she was like, what is this? And I was like, it's a carnation. She's like, where's the rose? Steve Vessa got Stephanie Lopez a rose. And that was, that was $4. And I was like, well, I got you a carnation. And I actually honestly think the carnation looks better. I didn't like that. But I believe it was the cheap flower. I don't know if it still is. I don't know if the carnation still has a bad rap, but it's in Gina Tay. So that's our new sponsor. We're excited about that. And that's how we fill the time here on Slow News Weeks, everybody. We have Caitlyn read Gina Tay ads. This is a fun thing I want to talk about. It's a breakup concierge, post-breakup concierge, a new service that I read about in the Post a few weeks ago. For $99, this service handles all the logistics of moving out of your ex's place with a dash of self-care perks for the broken-hearted millennials out there. You just broke up, and now you need to move out. Meanwhile, you're an emotional wreck over your ex, barely able to focus at work, let alone organize a U-Haul. How can you possibly deal with so many logistics at such a time? Why not just pay someone to do it? With the that's what Onward. Okay, that's the name of it. Onward. They will take care of everything. They will come over, pick up your stuff, take your things away, and your throw pillows and stuff, and they'll put it in a U-Haul, and they'll call another apartment complex or wherever and get you set up with a new everything.
For $100?
$100. I think that's a pretty good idea. I mean, I think you still have to pay for the U-Haul and everything. I think the $100 only covers the service. That doesn't get you the U-Haul and everything else. I mean, I never really had to break up with. I was always the kind of guy. who just kind of went away. Like I just stopped calling and texting, and next thing you know, I was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so busy," because I was too much of a pussy to like actually, break up. So I would just kind of quietly, fade away. But this is like when you have a full on breakup. I don't know if people went through these. I mean, I guess people go through these things, and you got to move all your shit out. These people will do it. I always think it's crazy when somebody gets married and breaks up within we had a friend who got married back on Long Island. They had a huge wedding. I mean, this thing must have cost a couple of $100,000. And I'm not kidding. They were divorced in 2 weeks. It was over. I mean, it's just like, wow. You didn't see this coming before you went and picked out, the fucking doilies to put on the wedding. You got to do a lot of shit for a wedding, and like there's got to be a point where halfway through this planning process you were like, I don't know about this, man. We're spending a lot of money and I hate your guts. And then when they're done 2 weeks later, it's over. Even within a year when it's over, which a lot. I've seen a lot of that happen. So if you need a breakup service, there's one called Onward for $99. They'll come to your house and take away all your shitty things that you guys got together in your home. That's once again here. Like I said, people, slow news week. We are fucking reaching, and I found a story about the Onward breakup service, which is probably 2 losers who came up with this service, it got a lot of press. They got a lot of press. This concierge service to help you break up, and that's that. So speaking of that, you want to get to our songs?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because it actually, the one I'm doing is a breakup song. Now, I don't know how this happened or why it happened that we've decided to kind of compare the songs of today. Because I just love, I'm a music guy and not a music guy that I play it or anything like that. I'm just into it. And I'm not into the good stuff. Like there are guys who did you listen to Nirvana's new, were you into Nirvana or something happened? No, I wasn't. I was into Bon Jovi. I was into shit. Like you people like, what album meant the most to you? Was it Sgt. Pepper's or one of these amazing albums, the Pink Floyd's The Wall? I'm like, no, Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi. Like nothing meant more to me than Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi. Me and my friends used to sit in a parking lot. We used to hang out at a place called the Factories on Long Island, which was it was exactly that. It was a factory parking lot behind over by the train tracks, and everybody would drive their cars in to it and get around in a circle and all just kind of drink. We back then we used to have wine coolers. They're kind of gone now, wine coolers. But this was when
I think they've been replaced.
Yeah, they've been replaced by
exists.
Yeah, by that
Smirnoff Ice,
hard lemonade, Smirnoff Ice, hard lemonade, things like that. It's the same exact thing. I think it's all like malt liquor. That's the base of it. Yeah,
flavor.
Fuzzy navel. Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff. But we would do. There was Bartles and James. There was
Bartles and
James. They were like these huge. It was a campaign of these 2 old men who did these wine coolers, and they were flavored, real like grape and apple and shitty flavors. And they would come to the point where it got so ridiculous. They would just come in 2-liter, plastic, like almost like Pepsi, and you would swill this wine coolers, and we would pop in Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet and just, oh my God, that was amazing. And get real drunk on, and my parents had handed me down a station wagon, a 1980, I think it was an 80, Caprice Classic station wagon, and I would drive down there in that. And of course, nothing gets the pussy's juicing quite like Caprice Classic Chevy station wagon. With a cassette player that I would play.
Good thing too, because you got all that room.
Yeah. You know what? As a matter of fact, I lost my virginity in the back. I lost my virginity very late in life. I wasn't. Honestly, I'll be honest with you, people. People weren't coming. I was down in the theater wing. Like they talk about this Olivia Jade. Like she's had a nice life. I'm like, yeah. Well, she didn't have to struggle in life. You're like, did you play football? Yeah, I tried. I tried to play football. I wasn't accepted. I had a big giant head. I was 6'1" and probably 110 pounds. And but I knew everybody. Like I wasn't an unpopular guy. Like I was popular because I was funny. So they were like, he's funny, but he can't play football. So I decide I'm going to try and play football, right? And it's like jersey picking day, football jersey picking day, where there's just a big box of football jerseys, and everyone's going to reach in and grab that jersey. And that'll be your jersey for the season. That's your jersey. And I'm not an aggressive guy, so I'm letting all these are football players in 8th grade, 9th grade. These aggressive kids whose father's been screaming at them to catch the pass every day of their lives. My father never said a word to me until I was 17. And a good man for it. He's still a good guy. He's eating sun-dried tomatoes right now as we speak. So all these aggressive kids are reaching into this big box and they're pulling out their jerseys. And now the colors of the high school that I went to, Connecticut High School, were red and white. So you had red letters, red numbers on the front. So say you were number 12, you had a red 12, and then the jersey itself was white. Pants were white, everything, and then the socks were red. So everyone's reaching in, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm the last one to go up. And it's like something out of a movie. There's one jersey left in the bottom of the box. Everybody else has got their jerseys, and it's a maroon jersey, like a burgundy jersey with a white number. Completely opposite colors to the rest of the team, and not even close to the colors of the team. It's burgundy. I don't even know where this jersey came from. It came from another school. So I take it out of the box and I say to the coach, I'm like, oh, is this jersey okay for me? And he's like, he didn't say it, but he's like, yeah, for you, that jersey's fine because you're never going to get on the field. Like
it looks like you look like the manager,
right?
Team
Yeah.
manager.
This jersey won't matter because it's never going to be running down the field at any point and confuse like an announcer who's going to go, there's a guy running down the jersey in a burgundy running down the field in a burgundy number 12. Who is that? It's never going to happen. So I took the burgundy jersey and I wore it. Now, what would happen? I don't know if this still happens in high schools or happened in your high school. On the game days, I forget when game day was. It was like Saturday or Friday or something. But all the players would wear their jerseys in school that day. So everybody's wearing. I was like, all these guys. So now let me say, I don't have a lot of like anger toward like things, but I have to admit that I've had some success in life, and it does bring me joy that I've become like television successful, and some of the people who were like a little bit of bullying at, people in school went on to do like nothing much, and it does bring me some kind of joy when I look at Facebook and go, oh, look at this loser, because when I was walking the hallways in my burgundy jersey and was like, look at Franjola with a different jersey than the rest of their team. What a loser. I'm like, yeah, well, look at me now. I was on Chelsea lately 8 years ago, you fucking dicks. No, anyway, so that was my jersey story, and that's why I'm no Olivia Jade. That's why my parents didn't care. They never came to my games. Oh, they had one game one time where there were two junior high schools that in my neighborhood that were the same. We were from the same school district, so we would eventually meet in the same high school. So we had the Peconic Junior High School and Oakdale Bohemia Junior High School together. We would all meet in Connecticut High School. Okay, so the junior high schools were the team. So because they took all the bad players one time. They were like, hey, let's give these kids a chance to get out there and throw the ball around. Make no sense. They said, let's do Peconic versus Oakdale Bohemia with just the scrubs. That's what we called bad players. I know Scrubs has gone on to mean something else because of the TLC song, but back when I was growing up, scrubs meant like bad athletes. So they were like, this game is for the scrubs. So we got on a bus, me and the scrubs, and we went and played Oakdale Bohemia Junior High School. Terrible game, no, just balls just going all over the place. It's not even, doesn't even look like it. It looks like that football game used to have in the 70s where it was just powered by a vibration. I don't know if you remember this. It was like you're probably too young to remember, Alex, but they used to just put these players on like a vibrating board, and you would turn it on and the board would just vibrate, and the players would move from the vibration in no specific direction.
You just watch.
They would eventually just all like move over to one corner of the field because but where the vibration was coming from.
The table had a lean.
It would just vibrate toward that. Anyway, so a piece of the wall just fell down in the studio. It just fell as I'm talking about this. So anyway, that we were playing the scrub game. Now, one of the fathers of one of our really top players on the real team, the good team, I forget the kid's name. I think his name was Steve Vessa. His father comes to the game, and he's on the sidelines, and he's like, "Where's Steve?" And there's a couple of other the real good football players there in regular clothes to make fun of us from the sidelines, and I'm standing there, on the sideline of my maroon jersey, waiting to get in the game. I'm not going to get in, but I'm waiting. I'm ready. If they need me, I'm ready to get in. Petrified, absolutely fucking terrified that I don't want to get in this game. But if they need me, I'm going to get in there. I have no idea, and I'm actually know sports pretty well, so I know the position. And they asked me what position I want to be. I was like, free safety, and I'm like, why? I'm like, I have no idea. I heard it once. I heard that position once. So I'm about to, waiting on the sideline to get in the game. Steve Vess's father comes walking up. There's a couple of the other real jock kids behind him in regular clothes. Steve Vess's father says to the jock kids in their regular clothes, he says, where's Steve? Is he not playing today? And they laughed, cackled, as if it's the funniest thing you ever heard. They're like, Steve's not in this game. This game's for the scrubs. And they point to me as being the example of the worst person in the world. Like, it's for him, this loser, this guy in his maroon jersey with mismatched letters. This game's for him, not for Steve. Steve's a winner. This is fucking for losers.
For people with different fonts on their
That is
jersey.
the point when I fucking said, you know what, this isn't for me. I took the bus back to, Peconic Junior High School, took off my maroon jersey, went down to the theater wing, and I saw they had auditions for guys and dolls, and I said, oh, when you see a guy reach for stars in the sky, you can bet that he's doing it for some doll. When you spot a John waiting out in the rain, chances are he's insane as only a John could be for a Jane. And next thing you know, I was a fucking hero. Mr. Show Business was born. So fuck you, Steve Vess, and your father.
Who's the scrub now?
Who's the scrub now? I am sitting in a weird studio in the middle of Koreatown while the walls are falling down around me. God damn it. All right, everybody. Well, there you go. We covered a little ground there with some stuff about that. That's fun. Let's get to the songs of the day. Alex has the number one song in the country currently. We're gonna go with the Post Malone
song. Climbing back up from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse is Mr. Post Malone with Flower. So
always tired. It says on his face. He's got that tattooed under his eyes. Always tired. I got no problem with this. Post Malone has a kind of sound that sounds very produced. Like, that's obviously not the way he sounds into a microphone when he's singing. This has been, whatever auto-tune.
Auto-tune.
Yeah, auto-tune or whatever else they got to put on it. That's the effect. It's been affected. But it's fine. He's a legitimate performer. I know he used to play in like metal bands and stuff when he was younger. So
he's a great guitarist.
Yeah, I think he plays it. Yeah, I have no problem with him. And I have to say, can you play it again? But as a matter of fact, can you get up for me? Since you've played "Sucker" by Jonas Brothers, it's now become my favorite song. And I just wish, I know we're not quite into summer yet, and I don't know where you guys are living, but I feel like we're kind of out of the woods winter wise. We had a gorgeous day here yesterday in Los Angeles, and today's pretty good too. And I know I was in Dallas and it was pretty nice in some of the places. So we're feeling summer coming. It's one of those times where you're like, shit, finally it's 68 degrees. We can go out and wash our cars, put on a fucking tube top and some cut off shorts, and we can listen to this is what we want. See, but I think they should have released this a little later. This should have been released Memorial Day weekend, because this would be Song of the Summer. This would be me out in Montauk, sitting at the Sloppy Tuna with a Pabst Blue Ribbon in my hand in the middle of the day. Like, you drink Pabst? Yeah, I drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. Why?
A little bit of Bartles and
Bartles and James. Oh, wine coolers. Oh, I wish I could. Oh, I don't even know if they have it anymore. I'd find a Bartles and James and drink it to this song. This is pretty good, I have to admit. Now, those are the songs. Those are two good songs. That's I think number 4 now is the Jonas Brothers "Sucker."
Yep.
But that's Post Malone. But what is the name of the Post Malone song?
Post Malone song is called. Oh, you got me. I'm all suckered up.
Sorry.
Sunflower.
That's a pretty good song. Okay, now I'm going to go with, I forget what year it came out. I'm not sure of the year that it came out, but it's early 70s. And this is a song, basically, it's by a woman named Mary McGregor. I don't know if she went on to have much success, but if you looked at a picture of Mary McGregor, you're like, there's no way this woman had Mary McGregor. And the song is called Torn Between Two Lovers. And here's a little bit of it, and we'll stop and discuss. Let's go. And she's torn between both of these lovers and loving you both.
You can't say torn.
Torn between two lovers. Loving you both is breaking all the rules. I can't have both of you. And I think, now watch what happens. It goes on. That's a little something from Mary McGregor, torn between two lovers. I think at the end she goes back with the old husband. So if you're torn between two lovers, and maybe you need a service that will get you a U-Haul and take you away from one of those lovers, it is the service that I talked about earlier. That'll probably cut out of this podcast because it was boring as shit. But maybe not. Maybe not. So here's the deal. That's if you're torn between two lovers and you're feeling like a fool, you just remember that loving both of them is breaking all the rules. So get rid of one of them. Whoever. I mean, it happens. It happened to Mary McGregor. And if you saw this gal, you look at a picture of her in the YouTube clip that I just played. You can't believe that she found two fellas. I mean, it's unbelievable. She found one with those bangs. But she did. She found two fellas. And that's this week's song, Mary McGregor, torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool, up against Post Malone's Sunflower. That is cover to cover for this week. Like I said, slow news week. Don't judge me on this one completely, okay? I know a lot of you like, this is the best episode yet. That one was the best episode yet. I hate it because this guy, he talks, he doesn't know anything about stories. I try. But sometimes, what am I going to talk about? This fucking shooting in New Zealand? I mean, we can't talk about that. That's you guys are trying to have a good time driving to work or doing your things around the house or being torn between two lovers, driving from one lover's house to the other. You want to listen to something fun. So that's a giant story that I can't talk about, can't touch upon it. Alex was trying to come up with some stories. He's like, man, here, how about this? It's all about dead people. Dick Dale died. This guy died. That guy died. We can't talk about, nobody gives about Dick Dale, the 85-year-old surf guitarist. Like, we can't talk about that.
3 guitarists
so
died.
We struggled through this episode. We honestly struggled through. But it happened. I told you a story about me in high school, and that makes me sound like I was a loser. And in the end I probably was. But I didn't feel like I was, but that's why I'm no Olivia Jade. I took my lumps and I got up and I fucking made something out of myself because I didn't have Massimo to go, baby, you want to go to school, you go to see, you get on the boat, you row, you get into the school, nobody cares. That's how we do for Loughlin. Now Loughlin can't be in any more movie because you got to fake fucking go to school. You're happy with yourself. You're happy. That's what I'm going to work on my Italian impression. And then I did Caitlin Giannattei, and I think I kind of lost my Caitlin impression a little bit. I was talking too much. When you're doing Caitlin, you got to stay. Hey, everybody, I want to stay in short sentences, having a good time. You can't talk too long, and I talked too long with the Giannattei stuff. I think it's still pretty good. I'll have to listen back to it. That's the review. I like to review myself at the end of each episode. Alex, you want to promote something? Alex got a few things he wants to promote. Go ahead. Make them quick. Don't promote 17 gigs. Alex is going on the road a little bit. He's taking a couple of his friends. They're getting in a van, and they're going to travel and do some stand-ups, and they're going to be around the West Coast. So if you're in these neighborhoods, go check them out. What do you got, Alex?
I'll keep it easy. The 27th through the 2nd, we'll say. I'm going to be in Arizona and Nevada. If you're anywhere in that area, I'm on Instagram at AlexCon
That's what people always ask about your Alex Con. Yeah, okay. So that's where he is on Instagram. AlexCon is not funny.
And I'll put it all on there. I'd love to see some cover-to-cover people if you're in Arizona or
I would love for you people to go to it. Yeah. These guys are fun. Come out and enjoy that stuff. It'll be so do that. And then I'm going to be in Calgary. And then I'm in Boston, Laugh Boston, which I love. And please, Boston, come out. You guys always do. That's why I keep coming back to Boston. It's such a great city for comedy. So I am coming to the Laugh Boston, which is a great club, in April, I think, 15th, 16th, and 17th. I think. Look on my website, franjola.com. And then I'm coming as a show. You have to. I'm coming back to Long Island, my hometown, where people always ask me to perform, and I don't like performing back there because it's just not easy, and people don't leave their house on Long Island. But I am coming for one night only. It's a Wednesday night. I'm coming to the Brokerage Comedy Club in Belmore, Long Island. I'm doing one show, one night. Let me give you the date on that one. It's not until June, so you're going to hear about it again a few times because I have to sell this show. I have to. I will be laughed off Long Island. There's been many times I've done Long Island and nobody shows up. This is on the June 5th, and then I go up to Mohegan Sun and perform in the casino up there. But Brokerage Comedy Club, Belmore, Long Island, one show. It's $20 to come to the show. That's it. Flat rate, $20. 8 o'clock show. Wednesday night, Belmore, Long Island. You have to leave your house, Long Island. You have to. I know you took the train from New York City and you don't feel like getting up and going to Belmore, but come to Belmore. It's only 140 seats in this club. If I can't sell 140 seats in my hometown, I have no business ever performing there again. So Belmore, Long Island, June 5th at Governor's. I'd love to see you. Thank you for sitting through this cover to cover.